Good evening, YouTubians. We're on, I hope this is installment 7 of the Blue Jackets manual, the manual you use to study most things Navy, all things Navy, but not all of the Navy. I'm going to try to stay within 10 minutes of reading and 5 minutes of commentary. So, let us begin. I'm going to skip over reading what your daily schedule will look like at Recruit Training Command, which is boot camp. Basically, you wake up at 5 o'clock, you have breakfast at 5:45, 6 o'clock you report to sick call if you're sick, then you start physical training, and then you have colors at 8 o'clock. That's when they raise the American flag, and it's pretty neat when you're on a military installation. Whenever they raise or lower the American flag, it's called colors, and everybody stops. They try not to have jets flying during that time if you're on an air station, which I was in all of my duty stations. Cars stop in the road. Speed limit's only 25 on base anyway. People that are walking stop and face the flag. If you're in uniform, you salute it, or you put your hand over your heart, and they play taps. And yeah, so it's pretty neat watching a whole functioning base stop. So boot camp life. Not all of your time at the recruit training command will be spent in training. There will be administrative periods during which you will make pay arrangements, be fitted for uniforms, complete your medical and dental work, and make known your desires for future assignment. Based upon your Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, which is called the ASVAB test, scores, and your classification interviews, the initial path of your Navy career will be determined. While at boot camp, you will be given the opportunity to attend the church of your choice. Chapels are available in which Catholic, Jewish, Protestant, and several other religious services are conducted by chaplains, who are also available for pastoral counseling and religious education. Recruit choirs are organized and often sing at the services. Because of the tight schedule and the great number of recruits in training, you cannot receive telephone calls while at RTC, but on occasion, with permission from RDC, you may make outgoing calls. I think I was allowed to make like 2 or 3 outgoing phone calls when I got to boot camp. Visitors are not permitted during training, which is really great. It was wonderful for me. But I had some shipmates that had a hard time with that their family couldn't just drop in and see them. It's weird. Visitors are not permitted during training, but you will be permitted to have guests attend your graduation review. Information about this will be provided for you to send home. My family didn't come. It was no big deal in my family. Most everybody in my family had been in the military, including my father, grandfather, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it was like you graduate and you move on, man. You go to your next duty station and you learn what you need to do. And nobody's at that graduation either. I went to Great Lakes. Was raised in Denver. And then I went to New Jersey, Lakehurst, New Jersey, for my schooling. Nobody's going to drive or fly across the country for a half-an-hour ceremony. You know, they're like, ooh, you know, you completed your training, now get your butt to your duty station. My parents did come up and visit my duty station because the Olympics were held in Vancouver, British Columbia, which is about an hour and a half away from where I was stationed. So they came up and we all went to the Olympic Village, I believe it was called, or whatevs. Or not Olympics, it was the World Fair. Wow, sorry about that. Long time ago, 80-something, 87, something like that. You'll be paid twice while at RTC, but once you graduate, you and every other member of the Navy will be paid twice a month. You'll be paid by electronic transfer of funds through the direct deposit system to the banking institution of your choice. So you get paid every 2 weeks, just like most other jobs, except for being a teacher. We get paid once a month, which it's hard. You got to be really wise with your money to take a job that pays once a month. The Navy relies competition. The Navy relies upon competition as a means of enhancing readiness and promoting pride. Individual sailors compete with other sailors for promotion in ships and aircraft squadrons compete with each other using appropriate exercises to measure readiness in gunnery, engineering, safety, communications, and other important areas. While at boot camp, your division will compete for awards in athletic skill, scholastic achievement, military drill, inspections, and overall excellence. Special flags are awarded to divisions in recognition of their achievements, and at the graduation ceremony, a number of individuals are selected to receive Outstanding Recruit Awards. Honor graduates will be designated, and other recruits will receive special recognition. We had one person, I think, out of every company, like, the Navy says it's about 80 people or so, that got recognized and got promoted to E2. So we're all E1s, and they were so on top of the ball that after boot camp they got promoted to E2, which isn't too big of a deal because you pretty much automatically get promoted to E2 after you've been in for 6 months, and then E3 after another 6 months. So after 1 year, you've made the third pay grade. So battle stations. Near the end of your training at boot camp, you and your fellow recruits will participate in a large-scale exercise called battle stations, which will place you in a realistic scenario designed to test what you've learned at RTC. You will simulate handling emergencies such as the kind you might encounter while serving in the Navy, and learn how to function as part of a team while demonstrating your endurance. This physically, mentally, and emotionally demanding exercise will test your abilities in meeting the challenges of fighting a fire, preparing for an approaching hurricane, conducting a search and rescue operation, transporting an injured shipmate, defending a position using small arms, abandoning ship, and so on. After successfully completing this final exam, your achievement will be recognized by replacing your recruit cap with the Navy ball cap you will wear in the fleet. Core values. Underlying all the training you will receive at RTC is a focus on self-respect, respect for others, and the core values of honor, courage, and commitment. These are not just words, but are interrelated concepts that you must take to heart to guide you in virtually everything you do as a sailor. Before you make a decision or do something, you must consider whether your action will reflect a loss of honor, a failure of courage, or a lack of commitment. If it does, then you should not do it. You should keep in mind that honor includes the honor of your nation and your Navy as well as your own, and that maintaining honor will often require courage and commitment. You should remember that courage can be physical or moral. Sometimes you have to make a decision that is not easy and may not result in you getting what you want. But because it is the right thing to do, you must find the courage to do it. And you must be committed to doing what you know is right, what is honorable, and what is courageous. These core values are embodied in the Sailor's Creed, which you and all recruits will be expected to memorize and to live by for as long as you are in the U.S. Navy. I would think that core values should be put on the very first page of any naval document or book, because I took it very seriously. That doesn't mean I did everything right. I got my butt chewed by the chief a lot of times in the military, sometimes trying to take shortcuts or not doing what I was supposed to do. When you first get in, you're 18 years old. You're aloof, your underwear, you don't see the importance of folding your underwear just perfectly in your socks and that kind of thing. And you feel like they're just coming down on you like mom and dad. And then you realize how important attention to detail is, and it all makes sense. And let me tell you, if you are not going to have the courage that it takes to have honor, courage, and commitment, then don't go into the military, okay? It takes a certain amount of, I'll say, blind faith to enter the military and to know that they will treat you right. And like every other organization, there are bad apples in it, but let me tell you, they are few and far in between. Just do the right things. You don't got to be a goody two-shoes. It's okay if you get your butt chewed, or you got to pull extra duty every now and then, or you overslept and you're late for work. All those things happen. They happen in the military just like they do in civilian life. But when you get your butt kicked, take your butt whooping and move on. And that's what literally, if you're one of those goody two-shoes that follows the line for everything and follows all the rules, hey, that's great. You're going to do really well in the military. If you're a smart mouth like me, and you're a comedian like me, and you like to rub the rules the wrong way like me, you're going to get in trouble. And believe it or not, they expect that. And your chief will judge you not by how much of a goody two-shoes you are, but how you act and react after you've been busted trying to short the rules or something like that. So you know, you got to realize that everybody screws up. That shouldn't be an excuse to screw up. I see a lot of people doing, well, everybody screws up, so blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, but we're not talking about everybody. We're talking about you, and you're going to hear that from your chief. But how are you going to react to this? Are you going to make it better? Are you going to realize, hey, that was a stupid thing to do. I'm not going to smart off. I'm not going to sit here and argue for 25 minutes that's over something that's a moot point. It doesn't make sense for you to argue about something. You knew the rules, you broke the rules. Look, you're busted. Okay, look your chief in the eye and say, "Aye, chief, I understand. I screwed up. I want to move past this. How can I move past this? Give me guidance and direction." Boom. Your chief will respect you so much. He'll give you guidance and direction in the form of extra work. Boo-hoo for you. You screwed up, take the punishment. So I'd like to finish this off with a sailor's creed. I'm a United States sailor. I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, and I will obey the orders of those appointed over me. I represent the fighting spirit of the Navy and those who have gone before me to defend freedom and democracy around the world. I proudly serve my country's Navy combat team with honor, courage, and commitment. I am committed to excellence and fair treatment of all. They didn't make us memorize that when I went in, but let me tell you, that means a lot to me, especially the part, your first thing you do is you admit you're a United States sailor. The next thing is you'll support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Let me tell you, you remember that and you live by that, and you will never go back for as long as you live. And you see these people that are constitutionalists that walk around giving cops a hard time and public servants a hard time and general people a hard time, because they are living up to the words of their Constitution, our Constitution. And you think, wow, they're being a jerk. You know, why won't they just randomly give up their identification to somebody who decides to stop them randomly? Well, it's because it's against the Constitution to do that to somebody. And we are losing our rights every day. You know, cops got a hard job to do, but they don't have a right to stop you without, you know, a reasonable cause. And there's some police forces that are very bullyish, and you know, you need to determine how far you're going to push something when you feel like you're being treated unfairly, in as much as what your constitutional rights are. You do have a right to remain silent. That means from the point of contact to whatever, judgment, sentencing, whatever, you have a right to sit back and fold your arms and not open your mouth one time. You don't have to give anybody information. But because of that, you may pay a price. I raise my kids to believe and know that they have the constitutional right to question anybody or anything. They don't have to blindly follow orders. I never blindly followed orders in the military. I wanted to know where, why, and how we were doing everything, and you know what that meant to our country and to me and to my unit. Because sometimes there's some gray area there, and you need some guidance in that. But I taught my kids to question everything. But while you may have the right to do something, you may have to pay a price for that right. You have the right to say whatever you want in this country. So if you decide to go out in the street and start spewing racial comments to people, expect to get popped in the mouth. You're going to offend somebody because it's their right not to be, you know, racially offended. You have the right to say whatever you want, but you know, you may anger somebody and pay a price for that. So keep that in mind. I mean, the whole reason once I was in the military that I chose to stay with it and to do a good job was mostly because of the Constitution and how powerful that is. And you know, if we all knew and lived by the Constitution, we'd probably be a lot better off. So in that, I will close with a last little bit called From Civilian to Sailor. The ways of the Navy are very different from what you were used to in civilian life. In boot camp, you will take the first steps toward becoming a sailor. You will be introduced to the many differences of Navy life, and for the rest of your time in the Navy, whether you stay for only one enlistment or have a 30-year career, those differences will become second nature to you all. So the next one will be about Navy terminology. Till then, keep them happy.